Before watching the video, don't forget to subscribe the channel and enable bell notification to never miss an update from us.
Hello everyone and good morning. This is Ashima and in this video we'll be talking about the daily news events. Now, the concern of this video is more towards the idea that more and more news events should reach to you in less time as much as possible. So, we'll be talking about the news events and I'll be hinting you about the questions as well. So, this video is basically an informative video where you gain information regarding the whereabouts of the news events. Whereas for those who are looking forward to attempting the questions as well, although this video is going to give you an idea about questions, but you can take a live quiz every day on the app, that is Entry app, and that app has something new compared to other apps, that being it is in vernacular languages as well as Hindi English. So you can opt the language you want to attempt that in, and you can take the quiz over there, and that quiz is free, so you don't have to pay anything. You just have to do the registration process or the initial registration process, which will take you towards the quizzes. Now, apart from the quiz that is there, there's also a 7 days free trial going on the app for all the paid courses, so you can check out those courses, and if you find them helpful to you in any which way, you can make the further purchase as well. Now, going ahead with the news events of ours, the first news event which we are going to talk about is National Democratic Front of Bodoland, NDFB. Now, regarding Bodoland, we had had a recent update regarding the Bodo language being taken as an associate official language of Assam. Right now, there's something new which is also coming up. So, Assam Chief Minister Sarbanand Sonowal recently provided 4 lakh rupees to around 1,279 surrendered cadres of National Democratic Front of Bodoland. Now, why were they awarded? Why surrender was required? That is because NDFB is basically designated as a terrorist organization by the government of India, because NDFB is a militant group. It was created in 1968, and major tribes which are a part of this are Munda, Santhal, and Orao. Munda, Santhal, and Orao tribes are the ones which are majorly involved in NDFB, and this militant group was a result of these tribes which were brought to Assam as tea laborers by Britishers. Now, government of India doesn't recognize this group as a terrorist group because of their demands as such and the violence that they are, they have a possibility of creating. Right now, in 1990s, if we talk about, if we go back to 1990s, there were about 12 camps which were on the border of, or along the border of Bhutan and Assam. So at that time, Operation All Clear was started for by on Bhutan border. So, Operation All Clear was started on Bhutan border for removing these groups. Then India has also started various operations, 2 of them being Operation Bajrang and Operation Rhino, that is against the Assam separatist groups. Now, has Indian government ever tried to make peace with them? Yes, we have tried multiple times. There are 3 agreements also which are signed between the NDFB and Government of India. So Bodo Peace Accord is the recent one which was signed in 2020, and that was between All Bodo Students Union, Assam government, and National Democratic Front of Bodoland. Apart from that, now as per the accord, if we talk about, as per the 2020 accord, government had given around 1,500 crore package to Bodo areas of Assam. Then, since this is a long going, you can say, tussle that is going on. So in 1993 also an agreement was signed by All Bodo Students Union, and that was the one where Bodoland Autonomous Council was created. So it was in 1993 agreement that this council was created. Then Bodo Liberation Tigers signed an agreement with government in 2003, and the recent one being in 2020. Now, Bodo is also the single largest tribe of Assam, right, which is about, you can say, 5 to 6% of the population of state. So 5 to 6% of the population of state, making it the biggest tribe or the dominant tribe of Assam. Right, and Bodo language is recognized among the 22 languages in Indian Constitution in Schedule in schedule, which has 22 languages of scheduled languages of India. Then Bodos are recognized as plains tribes also as per the sixth schedule of the Indian Constitution. Sixth schedule lists all the scheduled tribes and the states which are going to be governed under sixth schedule. So there are limited number of states under sixth schedule, and in that Bodos are also included, right? And that is the reason why Assam is there in the sixth schedule, because of presence of Bodos. Then we have Avlokan software. Now, Avlokan software has been launched in Karnataka by the Chief Minister of Karnataka, B.S. Yediyurappa. Right now, Avlokan software is a transparent e-governance tool. That is, it is more providing information about the now what information is it going to provide. It will provide assembly constituency wise information that is released by the government, and what grants are released by the government, where have those grants been given. That is the purpose. Now, Avlokan software, what does it do? As you can see over here, it tells that how much fund has been released by the assembly and to which programs has it been given, and how much expenditure has been incurred on these funds, right? And that is how government can hold the resources also, and the people can also know about where the money is going of theirs, right? So this is basically to increase the transparency. Now, when you're talking about funds, if we talk about funds, there are total three types of funds of central government of India. Now, what are the three types? That is Consolidated Fund of India, Contingency Fund of India, and Public Account of India. First, we come to is Consolidated Fund of India. Now, Consolidated Fund of India is filled by indirect taxes, direct taxes, and the interests that you pay on loans. So, these three make up the Consolidated Fund of India. Now, which article of the Constitution defines the Consolidated Fund of India? That is Article 266. Article 266 of the Constitution of India defines what Consolidated Fund of India is going to constitute. Right now, if government has to take money from Consolidated Fund of India, it has to get approval from the Parliament for that matter, because it involves the money of people. Right, therefore parliamentary approval is necessary for Consolidated Fund of India. Then we have Contingency Fund of India, which has a corpus of about 500 crores, and it is used to meet the unforeseen expenditure, like any emergency expenditure has come up or something that is required on urgent basis, so which was not seen before, and so you can say it is something like an emergency fund of India. Now, which article defines the contingency fund? That is Article 267. So 266 consolidated and 267 is about Contingency Fund of India. So in this, states have their own contingency fund and central government has its own contingency fund, right? Then we have Public Account of India. Now all that money that is not included in Consolidated Fund of India comes under Public Account of India. So what are the possibilities? That you can see National Investment Fund, right? The money that is earned through disinvestment. Then small fund savings funds, postal insurance, provident funds, bank savings of ministries, and defense funds. All of these are a part of Public Account of India, right? Now, since in Consolidated Fund of India, we had seen that the Parliament was required, approval from Parliament was required, but in Public Account of India, government does not need to take permission from the Parliament. They can incur the expenditure from this fund as per the requirement, right? Then we move to the next news event, that is Article 19 of the UN Charter. Now, why has this article come to news? Is recently United Nations General Assembly announced Iran and 6 other countries, that is Niger, South Sudan, Zimbabwe, Congo, Brazzaville, Central African Republic, and Libya. These 6 countries were banned, you can say, or they have been stopped from, or the voting rights, you can say, have been taken by United Nations General Assembly. That is, they no longer have a vote as of now. Now, why was this done to them? What is this Article 19 that we are talking about? Everything we are going to talk about over here. Now, if we talk about why this has been done, is because they have not paid their dues. There is a certain amount that needs to be paid to United Nations, and when those dues are not paid, then the United Nations has the power to stop their voting rights. or take away their voting rights. Now, apart from that, there are three other countries also which have not paid dues, that is Comoros, Somalia, and Sao Tome, but their um, votes have not been taken back as of now, right? Now, when we talk about Article 19 of UN Charter states that a member shall have no voting rights if it has arrears in the payment of its financial contribution in United Nations. Although 2 years of grace period is granted, once the dues are not paid, then 2 years grace period is granted for maybe they pay, and then later on, if that is also not happening, then the voting rights are suspended, which has happened to these 7 countries. Now, what is the due? Iran has a due of about 16.2 million US dollars, right? And how now here we have an idea about the contributions are done. Then, which is the highest contributor United Nations, and how is it decided who is going to pay what amount? So, first of all, highest contributor is United States of America, which is 22%. Then China 12%, Japan 8.574%, and Germany 6.090%. And these four countries together form about 49% of the fund of United Nations budget. And if we talk about India, what is the position of India in all of this? India is among the 34 countries who pay their dues on time. So India has a good reputation over there. That is, we pay the budget dues on time. Now, how to determine that which country is going to pay how much amount? So there is a formula called scales of assessment. Now, this is a very complicated formula which involves the gross national income of the country also, then average global income per head also, and development also. Everything is considered. So it's a very complicated one, but the name of the formula is important. That is scales of assessment. It is via this that it is decided that which member is going to pay how much amount. Next is Keystone Pipeline Project. Now, this is a news because Joe Biden has, you can say, blocked this or said that it is no longer going to be constructed. Right? This is why it is a news. The reason is that Joe Biden has cancelled or is soon to be expected to cancel this project. So, what is this system about, or pipeline project about, and why is it facing so many criticism, and why is it being stopped? So, it is an oil pipeline system in United States and Canada, which was commissioned in 2010 and is owned by Government of Alberta and TC Energy. Both of them are the owners of it. Now, it runs from Western Canadian Sedimentary Basin to refineries in Texas, as you can see over here. Now, recently, if we see the ups and downs of this pipeline, the fourth phase of Keystone Pipeline system, it had attracted opposition initially. That time, the president was Obama. So at that time in 2015, President Obama delayed the implementation of this fourth phase. Then in 2017, Donald Trump came and he permitted the completion of the pipeline. Now in 2021, Joe Biden has decided to or is planning to cancel the project. Now, why is it facing environmental concerns? It is because there is pipeline spill that is going to threaten the Oglala aquifer. Now, why is this aquifer important? Oglala aquifer is one of the largest freshwater reserve of world. Is one of the largest freshwater reserve of the world, right? So that is why it is important, and it supports more than 2 million people by providing them drinking water every day, right? Now, has there been certain instances where earlier this has been seen that we are threatened by it? Yes, there have been oil spills earlier also because of Keystone pipeline system. In 2016, 400 barrels of oil leaked. Then in 2017, 9,600 barrels of oil leaked. Then in 2019, 9,000 barrels of oil was leaked. So there is a lot of oil leak that happens, and this causes environmental hazards, as you all must be aware about of the ill effects of oil spill, as you can say. So for that purpose, this has been decided that this project is going to be stopped now, right? Next, a few one-liners. Ministry of Railways has rechristened the Howrah Kalka Mail as Netaji Express. That is, it is now going to be called as Netaji Express again. Union Cabinet has recently approved the Ratle Hydro Power Project on River Chenab of Jammu and Kashmir. So this is important. As to name of the power project, Ratle Hydro Power Project, where is it going to be built? On River Chenab. Where in states or union territories it is going to be built? That is Jammu and Kashmir. Then, Ministry of Electronics and IT, in partnership with Amazon Web Services, is going to establish Quantum Computing Applications Lab, which is going to identify the quantum computing problems which were faced by central and state government and certain institutions as well. So, for that purpose, this tie-up is important. That is, between whom has this tie-up been done, or the ministry involved, or the conglomerate involved. So Amazon Web Services and Ministry of Electronics and IT is involved, right? Who is going to implement it from the ministry? Also, it is going to be Department of Science and Technology, right? Now, in union budget, had we given some amount to it? Yes, about 8,000 crores had been set aside in budget 2020-2021 on the National Mission of Quantum Technologies and Application, right? Then we have Italian police, which recently recovered a 16th century copy of Salvator Mundi. Now, Salvator Mundi is the world's most expensive painting of Leonardo da Vinci, as well as the most expensive painting as a whole, because the painting was sold at 450 million US dollars. 450 million US dollars was the amount at which it was sold in 2017. Right, and who had purchased it? It was sold to Saudi Prince Badr bin Abdullah. Badr bin Abdullah. He was the one who had purchased it at 450 million US dollars, and therefore it is the most expensive painting of the world till date. Who has painted it? Leonardo da Vinci has painted it, right? And it is believed that it was painted for Louis XII of France, and it was basically thought that it is representing him after the Second Italian War, or it was presented to him after the Second Italian War. Next, if we talk about Leonardo da Vinci, something that you must know, or you can say basically a word that you must know about, that he is an Italian polymath. Now, what exactly is a polymath? Polymath is an individual whose knowledge spans around a lot of subjects, right? Or who knows a lot of things, or has a knowledge about lots of things, not exactly one, but all, jack of all trades, right? So that is a polymath, right? And Leonardo da Vinci was a polymath. Then Gujarat government is to patent the dragon fruit in the name of Kamalam recently, and Kamalam is the name of the BJP office of Gujarat. So after that, the dragon fruit is going to be named soon, as per the recent news that has come up. Now, with this, we'll be winding up the segment of the day. Thank you so much. It has been wonderful interacting with all of you, and I hope this session has been helpful to all of you as well. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, goodbye, take care, and have a wonderful day ahead.